was built as a sandcastle under the fire sun. Small fingers packed granules down firmly and then washed away. Her mother's wooden hips cracked together the dark silk of her skin, and she kissed her with velvet lips. Her mother and her mother's mother taught her to be holy woman, to be solely woman. She slowly witnessed the baptism of her soul in the shallows of the very sea she built her castles in. With a chamomile melody and a lavender voice, mother whispered to child that she was hers, and she was hers too. They basked in the golden glory of childhood, and she shielded her eyes from the bright light of innocence. But she grew and began to dream of another's touch. She began to crave the embrace of strangers. In exchange for time and callous palm, she would relinquish her worth. When she met him, he gave her evaded time that runs through a widely narrowed hourglass. He had the power to turn 10 minutes into a dazed couple of seconds. He was a tornado of orders and a thunderstorm of I love you, babies. As they lay on the sand, they bid closed-lipped farewells to the waves as the water ran from the dehydrated shore's edge. At his command, piece by piece, she handed over grains of her sand-turned china glass body. She was a slave to his broken promises and learned how to hold her tongue. Mistook selfishness for disability to love harder. She was thus made only to please and use at owner's peril. And then she said no. Yet he stole her unspoken yes. He crashed into the sacred palace of her body, and with each wave's collision, he slowly wore her away into nothing, washed away the sacraments and set aflame to the high ceilings and cracked muted walls. And she said no. He left her there to rebuild what he had destroyed. He abandoned her with everything she had given him and more. She became isolated silently and magically. She hid from others like Houdini, in and out of grotesque grottos. Alone, she floated in conversation with her thoughts. She screamed as they echoed into the deep cave of her hallowed memory, and soon her reflection converted into her worst enemy. Hands pressed together against lips in prayer, asking God for forgiveness when she was never guilty. She became an angry woman and sometimes a crazy woman. As she attempted to salvage the remains of her edifice, those once firm sandcastles crumbled effortlessly through her fractured fingers. Her soul drowned and drowned again in holy water she had preyed upon and finally turned black. She gave her condolences to those who lost her and lay sunken in darkness. As the moon shimmered down in the night on the water's moody skin, her black had turned blue. Thank you.